Howdy folks, I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Our first story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Evicting Him and His 13-year-old Daughter? My boyfriend, a 34-year-old male of 3 years, just moved into my, a 32-year-old female, 3-bedroom home 5 months ago. This home has been in my family for the past 70 years. I have a 5-year-old son. He has a 13-year-old daughter. I made sure that we moved all of my stuff out of my office and put it in the loft so she could have her own bedroom. I think it was about a month into living here that his daughter wanted to move in with us full time, as she doesn't have her own bedroom at her mom's. I was completely fine with this. Anyways, I started running into a lot of problems not even a week after she moved in full time. She really became entitled and demanding. Like demanding that my son trade rooms with her because it has a bigger closet, and pitched a huge fit when I said no. Or demanding that we buy her expensive clothes or makeup because I'm a real estate agent and I have loads of money. Call me crazy, but I'm not about to drop $120 on a pair of ripped up jeans or $200 on 3 pieces of makeup. Her dad works, but his income is significantly less than mine, so she just really expected me to be the one who spoils her rotten. Or pushing her plate of food away, saying that I'm not eating that because you can cook me something else. I can deal with her childish tantrums and slamming doors, but she has now started putting holes in my walls, and my boyfriend makes excuses saying that he used to do the same thing and she'll grow out of it. Wow. She torments my son. If he says anything to her, she will literally always respond with, "Oh, you're talking to me?" Swap rooms with me, and I will think about responding. Her dad literally never attempts to correct her behavior, and I'm told that I'm being too harsh if I do. The tip of the mountain for me here was 2 weeks ago. There was a foul smell coming from her room, so I asked her to clean it because you couldn't see the floor. She said, no, it's my room. I don't see why you have any say on how I treat my personal space. Her father actually agreed with her. 3 days later, the smell had become so bad that I lost it. I told her to clean it or she was moving out. This was after I saw at least 6 used menstrual pads thrown around her room, as well as a half-eaten food and moldy drink cups. Ugh. Oh, gross. Now I have to find my place. Terrible. She starts crying and saying that I'm treating her like Cinderella and that I'm acting like an evil stepmom. I told my boyfriend that he either handles it or they're both gone. He clearly didn't believe me because he told me that I needed to lighten up a bit because his daughter is having a rough time transitioning and being away from her mom, who she voluntarily left. I gave it a week and nothing changed. I went and got an eviction notice drawn up and gave him 30 days to vacate my property and told him he's lucky I'm not suing for damages. He says I'm a jerk for throwing away 3 years because, quote, I can't handle not having my own way. Am I a jerk? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk? Not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
Not the jerk. I would say a resounding not the jerk. You're not acting like an evil stepmother. You're just wanting a foul smell not to resonate and permeate through your house. This is outrageous. Like, she is clearly being entitled. She's a teenager. She needs certain boundaries put on her. Kids need structure. Kids need rules. And the thing is that your boyfriend or your ex-boyfriend is treating it like she can't, can do no wrong. And I think that's really unhealthy. And she's going to be like this for the next however many years that she's spending with you. And I mean, this is incredibly childish of her. And yeah, I mean, you don't have to deal with her entitled behavior. If your boyfriend isn't going to deal with the problem, then then it clearly something needs to change. So I applaud you for taking the right measures to getting them, out of your house, because clearly they are just taking advantage of your kindness. So yeah, anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. She's keeping her used pads. She's learned entitlement from her dad. He will learn when he has to provide now. And OP replies, I think she attempted to toss them in the garbage pail, but it was completely full, so they just ended up all over her floor instead. It's definitely disgusting either way. If Dad was actively trying to help improve her behavior, it would be one thing, but the problem really isn't the daughter, it's the boyfriend. Yeah. Alright, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Admitting to My Husband that I actually wasn't happy on our wedding day? I'm a 30-year-old female, and I've been with my husband for 7 years and married for 4 of them. I love him, and I'm genuinely happy with our marriage and life we've built together with our children. I was happy the day he proposed. I was happy during our honeymoon. We've had our ups and downs ever since. But overall, I would say that I was happy. Although, I wasn't happy during the planning of the actual wedding. Why? Because it wasn't the wedding that I wanted. A few months into the engagement, my husband's grandmother was diagnosed with cancer and was expecting not to live long. Our wedding was predicted to be the last big family event that she would be able to attend. Of course, I felt sad and was more than willing to change the date of the wedding to better suit her needs. But what I was not expecting was that it would become her wedding and that I was to be treated like a figure on a playset. She picked out the venue, the color scheme, the food, the music, the flowers, and even my dress. It all started out as subtle suggestions, but when I started to try and put my foot down, I was called heartless bridezilla who couldn't honor a dying woman's request. And the fact that they were paying very little into the actual wedding would be an actual jerk thing to bring up. After a fight, my husband was told to reconsider the engagement if I couldn't do this one thing, and how a wedding was more important to me than actually becoming part of the family. Knowing that I'd never win, I sat in my car and cried for an hour, mourning the loss of the wedding that I wanted, and in the end, let the in-laws have their way. I didn't even attend further meetings to discuss the planning and left both the bridal shower and bachelorette party early. On the actual day, I swallowed my disappointment and just went through with the motions. Since then, my sister and best friends have each had their own weddings, and I was the maid of honor for both and was excited each time. I took my role very seriously and had a lot of fun. My cousin is getting married and asked me to be her maid of honor, and I jumped at the chance. Recently, I've been spending hours on the phone and Zoom putting together a planning binder. My husband took note of my enthusiasm and made a joke about me missing that energy on our day, and I brushed it off. After that, I cut down my wedding planning in his presence, but he wouldn't let it up, citing that we don't keep any wedding photos out, that I got rid of my dress as soon as I could, and how I looked so much more happy at someone else's wedding than my own. He wouldn't let up, and eventually we got into a fight where I finally confessed that while I love him and I hated our wedding. My husband is now hurt and giving me the silent treatment. Am I the jerk? Edit, I stepped away for a little bit, but I'm already getting so many wonderful comments and messages. Thank you so much for validating my feels. Although there were some things that I wanted to clear up first. My husband's grandma died a few months after we came back from the honeymoon, and she recounted how our wedding as being one of the happiest memories of her final days, so I made the decision not to bring up how much it wasn't a good day for me, so my husband and I have never really talked about our wedding until now. While I'm super into planning mode for my cousin's wedding, I'm strictly adhering to the bride and groom get the final say rule because I don't want to make others feel how I did. Hence the binder, so if they shoot down one suggestion, I've got 3 others, lol. Alright folks, what do you think? The jerk or not the jerk?
Very much not the jerk.
You know, I do appreciate that OP really took the time and effort to accommodate the grandmother in this situation, but they overstepped their boundaries. The family did, and the husband never stepped in and said, "Oh, hey, maybe we should listen to OP and kind of like work with some of the suggestions here so that we have a wedding that everyone can enjoy." Instead, it was just basically the grandma's wedding, like OP said. And I don't think that OP's the jerk in this situation. If anything, I think that they're the anti-jerk.
Yeah.
So, they tried to drop the subject. They didn't want to talk about it. But the husband kept pushing, and he's like, well, why aren't you happy? You never look happy. Well, why do you think she doesn't look happy or isn't happy about the wedding, bub? You basically had a fight with her and made her cry for an hour in her car. And then she stopped attending the stuff. That wasn't a big enough clue for you? I do understand, like, the tragedy of losing their grandmother. That's a horrible situation. And the fact that this was going to be her last, event, that's terrible. That really is. And I mean, I'm glad that she enjoyed it. I really am. But I think that OP was shorted from the wedding that she wanted, and I think that her husband has no right to bring it up. And, just let it be at this point in time, and no reason to hold it against her either. So yeah. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to. Don't plan a wedding without the bride's input, then expect her to be thrilled on the day it's supposed to be about her and her new husband, but very much is not. I refuse to believe that he wasn't fully aware that she wasn't happy not to have a say in her own wedding. He's not mad she wasn't happy. He's mad she's not pretending that she was. Yeah, that seems legit. Alright, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Laughing at a Child-Free Woman for Wanting to Be a Housewife? I've been online dating for quite a while. My profile very clearly states that I'm dating with marriage as an end goal. I matched a few weeks ago with a charming woman who said that she was also dating with intent to get married, with the caveat of wanting to be a traditional relationship where she would be a housewife. I agreed that I would be happy with that arrangement in the future. We chat about a variety of subjects and set up a date for an early dinner 2 weeks out, which is today. Much to my surprise, during the date, she casually mentions that she doesn't want children. In my confusion, I ask her, but you said you were looking to become a housewife. She responds that you can be a housewife and still not want children. Admittedly, I did chuckle, but it wasn't a full belly roar of a laugh, just a chuckle. She took great offense and asked why can't she be a child-free and a housewife. My response was, what will you be doing all day? She says, what do older housewives do after their children go off on their own? My response was, well, usually back to work. I told her it's going to be next to impossible to find a man willing to take that deal. She gets angry and leaves. I tell my sister that she thinks, quote, I crushed that poor woman's dreams. Am I the jerk for telling the woman the truth? Alright folks, what do you think here? Jerk or not the jerk?
Sure.
Amber says the jerk. I think that this is a nuanced situation. I think that they're incompatible. It's really what this boils down to. I think that he had very much one expectation for what a housewife was, and she had a different expectation. And I think that it's good that, they've cleared that up now. I don't think he needed to, laugh at her. I think that was, a little uncalled for. But her opinion is like, well, she's probably going to do the, chores around the house, clean, cook, do those kinds of things, and without the children in the picture. And if that was an arrangement that he was willing to make, then I think that's perfectly reasonable. House chores are still a part of the household. They need to be done. They need to be done by somebody. And if one person is willing to do all of the chores and take care of all the, household businesses and finances and all that kind of stuff, that's a huge load. And that's something that, one individual, if you don't have to deal with, frees up a lot of time for another individual. So I don't think that's really unreasonable. I think there's a lot more to a household than just raising children. So that's kind of my feelings here. So yeah, that's what I think. Anyhow, take care and good luck. You're the jerk if she did all the house cleaning and errands, and I would marry her right this second, and I'm a straight woman. And cooking, don't forget cooking. I'm also a female and would marry that. I'm a woman and my partner is a stay-at-home dog dad, no human kids. Sure, he has plenty of time to play video games, but his staying home and handling all the BS of home stuff that I'm not good at and hate, from cooking to cleaning to basic repairs, means that I have also been drastically able to grow my own career over the years. Totally worth it for me. OP, you're the jerk. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. And if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.